Remember, adjectives modify, that is, they describe nouns. Okay? So adjectives are like red, crowded, ready, many. Okay? Many people, crowded house, the red car. In Latin, adjectives modify nouns by matching that noun in gender, number, and case. Not ending. Remember, we've got 5 declensions, 5 different declensions of nouns, but there are only 2 types of adjectives. That is first, second declension adjectives and third declension adjectives. So they're not always going to match in ending, but they will always match in gender, number, and case. So if the noun is feminine, your adjective will be feminine. Your noun is plural, your adjective will be plural, and so on. So let's take a look just in review of the first and second declension adjectives. The most common first and second declension adjectives will end in us, in the nominative singular. Bonus, bona, bonum. These are going to match up. They're going to decline like second declension nouns, like amicus, so bonus, boni, boni, bono, bonum, bono, boni, bonorum, bonis, bonos, bonis. Feminine, the feminine adjectives will decline like first declension nouns, like puella. Bona, boni, boni, bonam, bona, boni, bonarum, bonis, bonas, bonis. And the neuters will decline like second declension neuters, like donum or forum. Bonum, boni, bono, bonum, bono, bona, bonorum, bonis, bona, bonis. Okay. So if we take a look at a couple of examples, say we have a conus, and this conus happens to be masculine, and it's nominative singular. If he's a good dog, we're going to look then for the masculine nominative singular bonus. He's a conus bonus. Notice the endings don't match, but the gender, number, and case do. Or let's say we have the manui, right? Hand, and this is the dative case. Hand, remember, is feminine. Here's dative singular. So if we want a good hand, we want the manui. And we look, okay, feminine, dative singular, boni, manui, boni. Right. So they don't match in ending, but they do match in gender, number, and case. Now let's move on to third declension adjectives. There are really 3 types of third declension adjectives. There are adjectives of 3 terminations, which we're not going to look at right now. Adjectives of 2 terminations and 1 termination. Let's start with adjectives of 2 terminations. So in this class, and what we mean by adjectives of 2 terminations is that in the dictionary you're going to get 2 principal parts. You're going to say, okay, fortis, and this is our masculine feminine nominative singular, and forte, this is our neuter, strong nominative singular. Gracculus, masculine feminine, gracula, neuter. So that's why it's called 2 terminations. There are 2 different nominative singular endings. Now, what we get from these 2 principal parts is, first of all, the nominative singulars, and secondly, from the first principal part, we get the stem, that is fort. We're going to add the endings onto this stem, fort. We drop off the is, and we get the stem. So gracil is going to be our stem. Let's take a look at how these decline. So, it's third declension. It's going to decline like a third declension I stem. And mainly where you're going to see this is in the ablative singular. So let's take a look. Fortis, forte, there's our nominative singular. Fortis, fortis, forti, forti, fortem, forte. Remember, accusative neuters match the nominative of the same number. And ablative, forti, forti. Plural, fortes, fortia. Remember, neuter plural nominatives end in a. It's an I stem. Fortium, fortium. fortibus, fortibus, fortes, fortia. Again, accusative is matching our nominative. And fortibus, fortibus. Now there's one quick thing that you should notice here. With the exception of the nominative accusative singular and the nominative and accusative plural neuters, all of these forms are the same. That is, we really only have one form for the masculine, feminine, and neuter of the genitive singular, or the dative singular, or the ablative singular, right? Genitive plural. So the only differences between masculine, feminine, and neuter is going to be in those nominative and accusatives. Right? So let's take a look at let's try a couple of examples. Let's just say we're going to have a wiro, a man, and here so he's masculine, he's ablative, and singular. Well, we need to have a strong man. Maybe it's wiro, by the man, by the strong man. So masculine, ablative, singular, wiro, forti. Again, our endings don't match in form, but they do match in gender, number, and case. Let's try another one. Let's say it's a strong gifts, dona. Right? Now, this is neuter, nominative, but plural. So if we want strong gifts, we're going to go neuter, nominative, plural, fortia, dona, fortia. Here they do happen to match in ending, but they also match in gender, number, and case, which is the main thing that we're looking for. So that's adjectives of 2 terminations, and now adjectives of 1 termination. In the dictionary, you're actually also going to get 2 principal parts. But what we mean by 1 termination is that the nominative singular, masculine, feminine, and neuter is always the same. That is, this first principal part gives us all these forms. The second principal part provides us with the stem, frequent, crowded, pauper, pauperis, poor. There's our stem. And if we see it declined out, frequens, again the neuter here is frequens, genitive frequentis, dative frequenti, accusative frequentem, or neuter frequens. So here we've got a slight deviation, an ablative frequenti. Again, it's a third I stem. And plural, frequentes, frequentia. We've got a shift because the neuter plural nominative has to end in A. Frequentium, same. Frequentibus, same. Frequentes, frequentia, because our nominative, our accusative and nominative are going to be the same. And frequentibus. So let's try an example or two. Let's say we have a house. We've got a domum. We see this is feminine, accusative, singular. And it's a crowded house. Well, we're going to go to our feminine, accusative, singular. It's a domum frequentum. Or say they are fora, marketplaces or fora. We say, this is neuter, accusative, plural. If we want crowded fora, they are going to be fora, neuter, accusative, plural, fora, frequentia. Okay? Now, before we leave, let's take a quick look at the declension of comparatives and superlative adjectives. Okay. So positives can be first and second declension adjectives or third declension adjectives. Comparatives will always be third declension adjectives and not I-stem third declensions. Now the key to keeping this in mind, and here is masculine, feminine, and neuter, so it's a 2 termination adjective. And the other thing to keep in mind is that the first principal part, fortior, gives us the stem that we're going to deal with. So fortior, But the genitive of all three genders is going to be fortioris. You're only going to see fortius in the nominative and accusative singular. The dative for all three genders is going to be fortiori. The accusative is going to be fortiorem for the masculine and feminine, and fortius for the neuter, because it has to match. And then in the plural, or in the ablative rather, ablative singular, fortiora. And in the plural, it's going to work the same way. It's going to decline just like a third declension noun. It's going to be the same in all genders, with the exception of the neuter, plural, accusative, and nominative, where we're going to see fortiora. Right? Just like in the motto of the school, meliora, better things. Right? So comparative adjectives are always third declension. And then we have superlatives, like maximus a you'll notice us a just like bonus, bona, bonum. These are always, superlatives are always first and second declension adjectives. They'll always decline like bonus, bona, bonum.